This job is about protecting Americans, not tear gassing them for a photo op. It takes strength, courage, compassion, resilience. That's a president.
Good evening, fellow Floridians. My name is Chris Wills, coming to you from Miami, Florida, and the 305 for Joe. And I want to correct that last ad from the Biden campaign. It says, "This is a president." I say, "This is our president." That is Joe Biden, our next president, POTUS 46. We're going to make it happen 17 weeks from tonight, November 3rd, 2020, right here in the state of Florida. If you join us here on Biden for FL, these live streams that we're doing every single Tuesday night, we are literally counting down to the election results. And in 17 weeks, at around this time, together we'll be counting down to that moment where we reveal that Joe Biden has flipped the state of Florida blue and effectively will be the next president of the United States. Thank you so much for joining us. All of you who have been with us for all of our live streams, our fun caravans, and the different events that we've been bringing you here on Biden for FL. We have exciting news to share with you tonight, and I hope you'll stay with us the entire broadcast and that you will click share and encourage others to join us as well so that they can be part of this Biden for Florida movement that you all are a part of. And together we are building Joementum from all the way in the Keys, in Key West, all the way up to Jacksonville and the Panhandle and every corner of the state of Florida, all 67 counties. We're seeing tremendous movement towards Joe Biden from Democrats, Independents, and Republicans alike. But right now, I want to welcome in a very special way some excellent guests that we have tonight. But first, our co-host for the evening. We've got the guy who really started it all, who created the Biden for Florida social media pages, even before Joe Biden launched his campaign. Please welcome Robert Palacios, who joins me tonight
Chris.
from Hialeah, Florida. How you doing, Robert?
Good, and you? How's everything, Chris?
Doing good, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, you're a tremendous leader for our state and give us great hope. And we have two very, very special guests, Robert, joining us tonight. From actually, he's basically one of my neighbors here in Miami, Southwest Miami-Dade County. Robert, or Bob, as everybody knows him, Bob Remen, is joining us this evening as well. He's an amazing veteran who is tremendously committed to Joe Biden, has been committed to him since day one as well, and has traveled the state with me. He's shared with me quite a few times that he's not a regular traveler. He's very dedicated to working hard for his family here in Miami-Dade County. So he hasn't done a whole lot of traveling, but he's been willing to take on and get on the road with us and go out there to help make sure that folks all over the state of Florida understand how important it is that they join us in this Biden for FL movement. Also joining us, well, first of all, how are you doing, Bob, before we go on to our next guest? Hope you're doing well tonight. I guess he's speechless. He's doing so well. We'll check in with Bob in just a few moments. I know that Wi-Fi sometimes with these digital events are a little bit challenging, but somebody who is joining us from a little bit further north and a little bit more to the west in our state, from the Southwest Florida for Joe movement over in Sarasota, we've got Gretchen Leinhoff. How are you doing, Gretchen?
I'm doing great, Chris. Hi, everybody. Hi, let's go Biden for Florida.
Indeed, indeed. And Gretchen, you are the chairwoman of the Democratic Veterans Caucus there in Sarasota. How are the veterans feeling about Joe Biden in this upcoming election, do you think?
I'm actually the secretary of the caucus.
I gave you a promotion.
That's okay. It's okay. The veterans are gung-ho. You know, they were the ones that turned out and were the VIPs in our caravan. And they're very ready to get Biden elected.
Absolutely. Well, we've got three people on screen for you all who were very instrumental in making the most recent caravan. It was our third caravan across the state of Florida. We've had, I guess, now 17 different locations across the state that have had hundreds of vehicles out there beeping for Biden. And we made sure that this weekend in particular, with the Independence Day holiday, that it was an important moment for us to bring the communities together. We did 7 different communities, including Sarasota, and we had hundreds of folks out there beeping for Biden, showing their enthusiasm, and coming together to celebrate America's birthday. These caravans, in a lot of ways, have become the way that we connect as fellow human beings, as fellow Floridians, as fellow members of our community. We connect with our loved ones on their birthdays, for graduations. It's a safe and socially distant way for us to do that. And so we've been doing that in support of Joe Biden. We first did it with Riding with Biden for Flag Day. Also happened to be the current president's 45's birthday. So we sent him a big message. He had just a few weeks left to start packing up his bags and heading out of the White House. And then we did our Rainbow Joe Caravan, which helped the LGBTQ community to come together when many of the Pride events across our state, basically all of them, had been canceled or postponed. We brought the LGBTQ community, brought the LGBTQ plus caucus to help us organize that one, and had one of the best Pride parades ever in the state of Florida. And this past weekend, we brought the Veterans Caucuses across the state of Florida together to celebrate America's birthday. And Gretchen, can you give us a little bit of a taste of what you saw on the ground in Sarasota from the veterans that came together for your caravan and the members of your local community, and then those that the caravan just rolled by? What happened in Sarasota? Because all of us know Sarasota's a red county, and I thought we were pretty surprised at the results in Sarasota this past weekend.
It's pretty amazing, the turnout that we had. We invited all of our veterans from our Veterans Caucus, and we also invited the folks from the Florida Veterans for Common Sense. We invited them to participate. We put them in our VIP section of the caravan, which was at the very front, and it was led by a man named Elliot Aronin, who is a World War II fighter plane pilot, 96 years old. Somebody did drive him, but we had a big poster on his car. And all of our veterans, as they lined up, we probably had about 8 or 9. They all got the Biden for President flags. They actually, through the roof of their car, had American flags. A couple of them had big American flags through their sunroofs. Another one had another Biden flag through the sunroof. And it went extremely well. We were expecting maybe 30 cars. We ended up with 65 to 70. And the hardest part was getting out of the parking lot. But with 70 cars, it was a blast. And we went through downtown Sarasota, honking our horns, and people were coming out. Downtown Sarasota has a lot of condos, so people were coming out on the balconies to see what all the noise was about. And they'd come up and they'd wave at us and clap for us. It was really, really exciting. We can't wait to do it again. We do have another one scheduled, which I'm sure you're going to talk about, Chris. But to have 70 people show up on 4th of July in downtown Sarasota was amazing.
You guys did an amazing job, and we were seeing some footage there that the Sarasota County Democrats shared on their Facebook profile, and we're going to be sharing even more footage that folks have been sharing with us, those that participated. There's even some people that just saw the caravans rolling by and filmed them for us and have shared that with us. They saw the excitement, and they wanted to make sure that everybody knew about these Riding with Biden caravans that are continuing to grow all over the state of Florida. And it was such an honor to have a veteran lead, or several veterans lead the charge there in Sarasota, especially some that have served in some of the oldest military confrontations in our nation's history. And I think, as I've been saying for a long time, it's these veterans that we're seeing, even those that have served in Trump's administration, right? So Mattis and Kelly, these veterans who are leading the way and showing us that 45 is just an incredible danger to our country, and they know what they need to be fighting for, because they've literally fought against everything that has stood up against this country and everything that has imperiled this country, and have fought for everything that this country is supposed to stand for. So we need to listen very loudly and clearly to our veterans, especially in this upcoming election. And speaking of which, yeah, Gretchen, go ahead.
Just one other quick note is we've spent a lot of times with our Veterans Caucus talking about veterans issues and how the current president does not understand veterans issues, or even how the VA works. And when he gave, $16 million worth of contracts to his friends at Mar-a-Lago, that really made a lot of our veterans angry.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole list of things, that we can go through, and we've got Bob Remen back, who I'm sure can share with us some of his thoughts as well. Bob has also helped put these caravans together, and again has helped with so many of the efforts for Biden for FL over the last year. Bob, what are your thoughts as you talk to fellow veterans about why you all support Joe Biden in this important election?
Right now, the veterans I speak to are very concerned that the VA hospital here in Miami really isn't open or available for veterans to use. They've done a great job for us in the past, but right now there was not a plan in place to help the veterans, I think, as effectively as could have been done. And I'm hoping that when we get rid of Trump, we'll get rid of the kitchen cabinet that lives up at Mar-a-Lago telling the VA what to do, and it'll return to the professional health service personnel who know how to handle a pandemic.
I mean, Bob, you put the nail in right there, because literally the problem is that this president seems to have no plan whatsoever. He doesn't have a plan for our veterans. He doesn't have a plan to solve the coronavirus crisis. And as Gretchen was saying, there have been just so many egregious things that the president has done where he has totally failed as commander in chief. So my question to our audience, and we've got a good number of people watching from all over the state, we're going to put it up on the screen. What do you believe has been Trump's worst failure as commander in chief to our troops? I can go down a litany of things, right? Bob, you want to jump in?
Well, most recently, it's the failure to even say a word about this bounty that's been put on the active duty personnel in Afghanistan for the Taliban to, take pot shots at them. If they had a chance of maybe dodging a bullet, this bounty that's been placed on their heads has, just exponentially increased the danger to them. And we have not heard one word of, against the Putin, and it shows that he lacks the fundamental testosterone level to protect the troops who try to protect us.
Completely. And it's part of a pattern with Donald Trump, right? So when he launched his campaign, he used the troops and our veterans as props, right? He literally dangled in front of them, oh, I'm going to go do a fundraiser for you all. And then it wasn't until the media, right, the fake news that he loves to call them out on, and brand them as, it wasn't until the media pointed out, hey, where's all this money that you said you were going to raise for the troops? And then, oh, okay, all of a sudden we're gonna start putting it up there. And then we even, to this day, I don't think have a full accounting of that funding. So that's what happened during the campaign. Then he becomes commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, right? And we see egregious act after egregious act. I think one of the worst things that I personally have seen is that when Donald Trump killed Soleimani, and I messed up his name again the other night as well, so my apologies about that. But when he decided to take out for sure, a terrorist and a terrible person like Soleimani, but having no plan to follow up on that and no plan as to what to do after that. And Iran decides to retaliate against us, bombs our troops in Iraq, and you have Donald Trump come to the nation and do exactly as Iran is doing, selling propaganda to their people. Iran trying to convince their people that they killed a bunch of Americans, but our president selling propaganda to us, telling us no troops were killed and no troops were injured. None whatsoever. None, not at all. And it wasn't, again, here we go. The media, which we know we have to be thankful for, because without the media, we would not be able to hold this president to account. It was the media that helped us find out that, in fact, over 100 of our troops were injured severely in that bombing from Iran. They had massive brain injuries. And you had the president of the United States denigrate the sacrifice that our men and women in military, in our nation's uniform, denigrate their sacrifice by saying, oh, it's just a small headache that they've got, just small headaches. That is a disgrace. That is terrible. And to every person that says they love this country and they honor our troops, there is absolutely zero reason after that happened to continue supporting Donald Trump. And that's why we're seeing so many of our veterans come forward in such strong ways, denouncing Donald Trump, but more importantly, recognizing that Joe Biden is a guy who has been a father to 2 service members, right? 2 boys who were willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And his family knows the struggles and the sacrifices that our military members and their families have to make every single day. Something that, as many people call him, Captain Bone Spurs, because he, went for a deferral, because he had bone spurs, could never understand. Neither he nor any of his family members have ever served in our military. And that's okay. We can have presidents who haven't served in the military, but you better darn well honor the families and those that are putting themselves in harm's way, and certainly not lie to our country and inflame situations that you don't know how to control, and then try and sell us propaganda on it and denigrate the sacrifices that these people are willing to make that you were not willing to make. Gretchen, and any thoughts? I mean, as you've seen these things develop, as the secretary of the Veterans Caucus there in Sarasota, what are you hearing from the veterans as these things have developed over the course of the Trump presidency?
We just had a speaker in July, Paul Sullivan, who is the former executive director of the Veterans for Common Sense. And he made such a good point where he said, nothing, and I'd love to hear Bob's comment on this too, but he said nothing made him madder than when he saw that the president used our men and women in uniform to clear out peaceful protesters so that he could get a photo op in front of a church. That he actually used our service people to do that. He said that was making a mockery of our men and women in service.
And that seems to have been the last straw for so many, right? So many are looking at that situation, from Mattis and Kelly and others who have been, even in Republican circles, revered for many, many years as folks who were serious. I mean, in a lot of ways, having these people in the Trump administration, to some people, gave them a little bit of a breather and a pause to say, okay, well, there are the adults in the room, maybe they can keep things under control. But we've seen, since they've been removed from the administration, things have spiraled almost completely out of control, where, as you said, Gretchen, you have the president of the United States willing to use our military against peaceful protesters as a tyrant would in so many of the countries like my parents and Robert's parents had to flee from, right? Robert, I mean, what are your thoughts as you see this, where we have a president willing to use our military against peaceful protesters and against our own fellow citizens?
Chris, is super sad to see the highest elected officials in this country to do something to the people. I mean, we've seen it with the veterans. Joe Biden has always said that the veterans and the people in the armed forces are the spine of this country. And that's why there's a group across the country supporting Joe Biden. There's Veterans for Biden. You can look .com, I believe. I'm not sure the username, and there's thousands of followers. I recommend you guys to look more at the platform and check out Biden's vision for the veteran. It's concrete, better than 2016 when Donald Trump announced his candidacy. He didn't propose any plan to move the veterans' agenda towards a concrete vision.
I mean, we're hearing it from veterans, Robert, right? Like Bob is telling us tonight. The reality is that veterans are not better off under Donald Trump. They're struggling to get the benefits that our nation owes them because we owe them a great debt for all the sacrifices that they made and were willing to make for our country. And they're not better off under Donald Trump. So that's the reality that we're in. And still, you know,
I also have one other comment. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a group out there. Oh man, what are they called? Concerned Veterans for something or other. I can't remember their name. Bob, you might remember. But they are a group, and they are funded by the Koch brothers. I think it's Concerned Veterans of America, and they're funded by the Koch brothers. Mm-hmm. They're very walk hand in hand with my local U.S. Congressman Greg Steube, a staunch Republican, and their ultimate goal is to privatize the VA. And actually, Donald Trump has been on conference calls with this group of people. I've been on with them, with the Concerned Veterans of America, and 70-something% of veterans are okay with how the VA is working, and they don't want it privatized because, if the VA ever gets privatized, somebody's going to make money somewhere, and it'll come at the cost of whom?
Yeah.
Our veterans.
Yeah. And that's literally basically Trump's plan, right? Privatize. And we've seen time and time again in this administration that it's all about lining people's pockets and using our tax dollars to benefit his friends. And in large part, usually there's a tie to benefit him directly using our tax dollars and using our tax dollars, using our troops. Yeah. We're not going to allow that. And that's why I'm seeing increasingly more and more veterans and everyday Americans who honor our veterans, who really understand the sacrifices that they make, who honor our service members in every branch of the military, coming around and saying, we got to make sure Joe Biden is elected as president because it's too darned important. We're seeing right now that this president is willing to risk lives for his legacy, willing to risk lives because he has no interest in actually understanding the dynamics of foreign policy, the dynamics of the intricacies of what it takes to be president. It doesn't care, right? It was brought up earlier today. Bob mentioned it, right? The briefing that Donald Trump got, right? And now, he's saying he didn't get it. But the briefing that he got, that Vladimir Putin has taken out a bounty on our service members in Afghanistan. And he says, I did not get that briefing. So either you accept that he didn't get the briefing, which means like he's not pressing for all the information from his folks, right? The people that brief him. He's not trying to get all the information, which we've known for a long time, which is problematic in itself. Or he did get briefed and didn't care, right? And what people have lost sight of is, what are we at? Already 9-10 days since this story headlines. So he's known for 10 days. And what has he done? He's known for, so now we know he knows, like there's no refuting, he knows, and no action has been taken against Putin. But because of course he's not going to take an action against Putin, because Putin's his buddy. Putin, for whatever reason, we don't know what the exact reasons are, but there is a very scary reason why Donald Trump is beholden to Vladimir Putin and Russia, and has allowed him to take even further steps to encroach in our hemisphere, specifically in Venezuela and Cuba, right? And we've seen now his willingness to even let our service members be put in the line of fire by Vladimir Putin with no repercussion. And that's, again, something that every American can't stand for. Robert.
He won the election thanks to the Russian. And that's a good point, Chris. Let's go back to history when Joe Biden was in the Senate. He was one of the leaders who gave funding to the VA for mental illness in the Senate. Back then, I mean, Donald Trump has no proven record for the veterans or for the armed forces active at this moment.
Zero. You know, I mean, lot of talk, and it's what we see with so many constituencies, right? I'm seeing it here in South Florida, right? You know, talk tough against Castro and Maduro, and we're going to talk tough against socialism. But then what do you have to show for it? Zero, nothing. Talk tough against immigration. We're going to build the wall. He hasn't built the wall. It's lie after lie after lie after lie. And the question for that person that's out there watching us, that you can share this video with, and reach out to them, that person that's still, for whatever reason, on the fence. Maybe they don't know enough about Joe Biden. They've been kind of paying attention, but they've been busy trying to save their lives from this global pandemic and trying to figure out how they can keep their job and keep food on their table. And so maybe they haven't been paying super close attention to this election and everything that's been going on. But the question is, where do you draw the line and say enough with the lies and enough with putting lives in danger? Enough. And that's what this election has come down to. Are you going to draw the line and say, Donald Trump, we're not going to allow you to put any more service members in danger? We're not going to allow you to put any more of our fellow Americans in danger, now with over 130,000 fellow Americans dead because of the coronavirus pandemic. And as Joe Biden says, it's not because Donald Trump's responsible for the virus, but he is responsible for the response to the virus. And the response, by all measures, has been terrible. The response to Iran bombing our service members was irresponsible and disgusting and terrible. The response to Vladimir Putin and his influence in our elections and his taking out bounties against our veterans is unacceptable. Unacceptable. All of this stuff should be case closed, book closed, election over, resounding 50-state win for Joe Biden. I want to wrap up this segment, by giving each of you, your final thoughts on the veteran vote and how important you think it will be come November 3rd. The veterans who will voice their vote at the polls along with all of us, and urging all of us to join them in supporting Joe Biden. Bob, I don't know if you want to jump in.
Yeah, I do. I believe it is changing. I know a lot of guys went for Trump back in 2016, and right now they have a lot of regrets. And I try to be gentle with them about why they do it and lead them to the right idea in this upcoming election.
And I'm glad that you're reporting that to us. And I know that we're in contact with a lot of the folks in the Veterans Caucus all over the state. And that is what we're seeing. They are the Democratic Veterans Caucus, but increasingly they're hearing from Republicans and independents who have maybe, as veterans, voted Republican in the past or not supported Democrats for whatever reason. And they're looking to Joe Biden for leadership as the next president of the United States. Gretchen, your last thoughts, especially, I'd love to hear, again, Sarasota, such a ruby red area, right? Very, very red county. And yet we got the largest participation of the America's Birthday Caravan in Sarasota this weekend. So many people participating, and that the response for the community was so powerful and so positive. You know, as a leader of the Veterans Caucus organization in Sarasota, your thoughts for our audience across the state about what they can expect from Sarasota, and especially the veterans in Sarasota and across the state on November 3rd.
Sure. I would really, really encourage all the veterans, oh, there goes my dog, and active military to listen into, do I need to mute? Okay.
No, barks for Biden. Barks for Biden.
Yes, she is a barking for Biden. But I ask all the veterans to listen to this, to this broadcast and write down these notes, these talking points, because these are points you can talk to other veterans if you're at the DAV or if you're at the AMVETS having a beer one night and you hear somebody saying, well, I don't know about Trump. You know what? You can always use these tidbits that we've given you. And you can always go in there and say, you know what? Joe Biden had two sons that were active military. He understands what our veterans do, what they go through, what our military is for. He is a friend of our military, not a faux friend. And you know what? Get ready for the next caravan, because we're going to have all our veterans out. It's an easy thing to participate in. All they have to do is drive up. We give them signs and decorations for the cars and honk their horn. That's all we have to do. So spread the word.
And we got many more caravans coming, and they're growing in number each time. And we're looking forward. Some of the other areas of the state, like Pensacola, where there's a lot of veterans, have taken on the challenge and have said they're going to beat you guys in Sarasota with even more participants in their caravans up ahead. So we encourage folks to follow us here on Biden for FL. Robert Palacios does a great job at keeping everybody informed and updated on the events that are coming up. And make sure you stay plugged in with us, because we've got lots more exciting things coming. And we're about to share some exciting news with you guys in the next segment. So stick with us. Bob, Gretchen, thank you so much for joining Robert and I. And we hope that we'll connect with you many more times over the next 17 weeks between now and November 3rd. And remember, on November 3rd, whatever your plans are, hopefully we'll be able to do some kind of victory party, but with the pandemic, we just don't know. So we will all be connected in this space together, celebrating Joe Biden flipping Florida blue and becoming the 46th president of the United States. Thank you, both of you, and a big salute to all the veterans that you're connected with. Please thank them on our behalf and on behalf of Joe Biden's behalf for their service. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you. So that was Bob and Gretchen who joined us. Robert, what a great conversation, I think. A really important conversation for us to be having tonight.
To that point, what I mentioned the other time, I wasn't able to say the website, www.veteranforbiden.com. Ton of information for you to read about the proven record Joe Biden has done in the Senate in time again. I mean, this is why he's the ideal candidate, Joe Biden, to go to the White House.
Absolutely. He's the only one that I'm very confident because of his long history of bringing people together to actually solve problems. He's the only one who can actually go in there and, like he did before, solve this pandemic crisis, fix the economy like he did in 2009, and bring our people together, supporting our troops, supporting our veterans, and supporting all of those groups that Donald Trump has worked to divide and attack, that he's made. That's basically what he's made his entire presidency about. So I'm with you. Say that again.
And how qualified people next to him in the cabinet. I mean,
right. I mean, this guy says, "Oh, I'm going to have the best people," and look at what has happened. So many of his cabinet members in jail, under investigation, and the ones actually decent quality have run away as fast as they can because they know how dangerous this guy is. So Robert, we have some exciting news that broke just yesterday, and that is that officially the state of Florida has a leadership team. We've got the Biden campaign. Uh, they took their time to make sure that the choices were the right ones, people that can unite our state and that have the experience and the connections necessary to lead Florida to flipping blue with Biden. And those folks have been announced. The top folks that are going to be leading our state. If you have not heard the news, so somebody who has been helping to lead our state for months, I think since October, Jackie Lee from Orlando continues on as state director. She's been building coalitions and reaching out to folks in every corner of the state through the primary and now through the general election all the way to November. Jackie Lee is our state director and continues on in that role. So we're really excited to have Jackie Lee continue leading us. But joining Jackie Lee in leading this state, we have some really, really exciting news to share that Karen Andre, who helped on the Obama campaign and was involved with the Gillum campaign as well, a tremendous leader on both of those campaigns in the past here in our state, that really rallied a lot of people all over the state. Karen Andre joins Jackie Lee as a senior advisor to the campaign, as will the executive director of the Florida Democratic Party, Juan Peñalosa. Juan Peñalosa will be joining that team and be a top advisor to the campaign. And we'll also have Brandon Thompson helping with the coordinated effort between the Biden campaign and the FDP, the Florida Democratic Party. So we've got a really, really amazing team. And, in particular, I wanted to bring on tonight somebody who's really important to Joe Biden and is a very good friend of Joe Biden and a friend of mine, a friend of yours, Robert, who has been a great friend to Florida and specifically to the Broward County area. And even she comes down to Miami-Dade a lot to make sure that anything that is needed, this person has stepped forward and shown the willingness to help lead and help with whatever resources and volunteers and ideas that may be needed. I want to welcome in a very warm way Miss Marie Woodson, very likely to be very soon Representative Marie Woodson. Welcome, Marie. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate this warm welcome. You really made me feel like I'm really in Tallahassee already, getting ready to work. And I can see I have two of my favorite people in here, you and Robert Palacios. You know, I love both of you all dearly. And also, I didn't see your girlfriend here, your fiance. She's a great one, too. I always make sure that I bring her in. And I really thank you for the great work that you are doing in order to get Joe Biden to the White House, because you have worked in so many campaigns. I've known you with the Obama campaign, with the Gillum, with Gwen Graham. I say Gwen Graham. So you have worked in so many campaigns in order to get people into the right offices. So we thank you. We appreciate you. And of course, Robert Palacios is going to be our next governor one day. We're hoping to bring him on because he's doing the work already. As so young, he started since he was 16. Well, but tonight it's all about Joe, right? It's all about Joe Biden, what we are going to do to get him in the White House. But go ahead.
Robert's definitely got my vote in the future, no doubt. And I think the vote of just about every Democrat across the state of Florida.
Right, exactly.
And, Marie, we've got a lot of people that are joining the Biden campaign in an official capacity that people do, right, that have done the hard work over many years to make sure that our state elects Democrats up and down the ballot, right? And
yes.
I've long said Joe Biden is the best candidate to flip Florida blue. He's precisely the kind of candidate
Yes, he is.
here on November 3rd. But I remind people that he's also the kind of candidate that will help us flip seats in Congress, flip seats in the state house, flip seats in the state senate, flip seats in county commission races. You know, literally up and down the back. This candidate has the ability to help motivate people to bring along those people that are kind of on the fence, sometimes may vote Republican, and looking at how the Republicans are failing us from the local level to Tallahassee to the White House, looking at Joe Biden as the leader of the Democratic Party and saying, man, with Joe Biden leading that party and setting the standard for what it means to be a Democrat in office in 2020 and going forward into 2022, that's the kind of leadership that we want. And coming down and voting Democrat up and down the
way down.
the entire ticket. And like I said, we've got leaders now here in the state of Florida that are reflective of that, right? For a long time, we've said here in Florida, we need folks that reflect our local communities, that are fellow Floridians running Floridian Florida campaigns that reflect our communities. And the main reason that I wanted to invite you, and we've had you on many times before, and we want to keep bringing you on, but especially tonight, with the news that Karen Andre is a fellow South Floridian, Haitian American, running the Joe Biden campaign. What does that mean to you as a Haitian American and to the Haitian American community in South Florida and across the state?
Chris, I could not have been more elated than Joe Biden making the decision to put Karen on his leadership team. It says a lot about who Joe Biden is. He's a great leader. He's inclusive. He really cares. He's human, because he knows that we need to have every single one of us at the table in order for him to do this. Joe Biden has the ability to turn this country around. He will save the soul of our country at a time where we really need this type of leadership. And he knows that the Haitian population is growing and growing and growing. We have Haitian in every single state of the United States. And we don't have Haitian just like we used to have in the 80s, where you find a little pocket here, a little pocket there. We have a high number of Haitian throughout the United States of America. And this was so smart and clever of him to bring Karen Andre, one of our best in the Haitian community, to his team. It says a lot about who he is. It says a lot about his leadership, how he's going to bring every single one of us on. So I could not have been happier when you have the occupant of the White House calling Haiti a shithole country. Yes, I'm repeating it. He called Haiti a shithole country. The first Black independent nation, the first Black country who has gotten its independence, the first Black one who has also helped the United States of America to gain its independence. He also called Baltimore, Maryland, a rat-infested city. This is a city that he's responsible for. So we need Joe Biden. We need Joe Biden more than ever. And we know Joe Biden can fix this problem, this pandemic of racism and everything else that we're dealing with, because he has the ability to bring people together. He has the ability to solve some of those issues that the country is going through. We all could be at the table. So Karen Andre is one of the best choices that he could have made to bring on his team. And I'm telling you, we will make it happen. We are going to rally our forces. Our Haitian people need to realize what this man is all about. He is not doing anything for the Haitian community. He doesn't even care about who we are when he calls us a shithole country. So we need Joe. Joe does care about our community. He has been there, and we know that he has have our back. So this is time for us to have his back. And I know Karen going to work 100% to make it happen. But Chris, I cannot wait to see you also in one of those leadership positions because you have been there, you have done that,
Thank you,
and
Marie.
you need to be added to that team in order to make it whole.
We all got to be leaders on this, and we need everybody across the state doing everything they can, no matter what, to make sure that we elect Joe Biden our next president. And again, that we win up and down the ballot. And Marie, you're running a race right now, so you know the decisions that campaigns have to make, right? And it's like a balance, right? Do you go for the kind of person that has a winning track record, right? So maybe bring somebody from another part of the state or another part of the country that has every single race they've run, you know, that maybe doesn't have local ties, or do you bring somebody that maybe doesn't have that, you know, winning streak, but understands the community because they're from this community? How does a campaign strike that balance?
You have to balance it out because you really need to have someone who have good knowledge of the community, just like you know this community inside out. I have worked with you. I've seen how you have really get yourself entrenched in the community in order to find out what's needed to be done in order to win a campaign. I know that's in you. I've seen it in you. And I know Karen as well has the same type of dynamism that you need in order to make it happen. When you know your community, it's a plus. When you bring someone on the outside, yes, they might be strategic in how they do things, but they don't really need to know, they don't really know the community that well. A good example, I'll take my Haitian community as a whole. For example, in the Haitian community, you have to go to the churches. You have to know the churches. You have to know the radio station, which radio station that you have to have your ads in order to appeal to them. You have to know what the people needs are. It's a lot of little dynamics that you need to know, and you have to be able to educate, change some mindset who were like, let's just say they were thinking about supporting whoever is there now that don't offer them anything. You have to be able to educate and change that mindset. And you have it, Chris. Karen has it, and I know that with good people who are already in the community, we would get this campaign, we would continue to have this campaign moving in the right direction. Look at the work that you have done so far. I am so pleased, so honored to say I'm part of your team because we work together on a lot of those things. So yes, it works. When you have people who know the community, it's a plus. Right, Robert? Palacios? Yes.
Look, and Robert, you know, you connect with so many people that are currently running for office, people that are currently elected Democrats. You help run, you know, the Florida Democrats for office, social media outreach. So, you know, you deal with these candidates who are struggling with this, you know, trying to figure out how do we get talented folks from on the ground. And we're seeing that, right? The Biden campaign is literally picking our native Floridians. And this isn't, it's not like they just started yesterday too. We have to be very proud that in senior leadership for Latino outreach for the entire country, we have a fellow South Floridian, Laura Jimenez, leading the charge on that, right? We have also helping not just in communications for Florida, but somebody who helped devise both English and Spanish language communications for the campaign in many states across the country, fellow Floridian from Jacksonville, Kevin Munoz, right? You have also somebody who helped devise the Southern States Strategy, Southeastern States Strategy, who, I mean, obviously did a tremendous job because South Carolina, right, is what reset the map for Joe Biden. And that was one of his states, Vince Evans, right, a fellow Floridian who also worked on the Gillum campaign. So we have so many Floridians involved in this campaign, and we see increasingly that Florida is at the center of everything happening in the 2020 election. So, Robert, I mean, as somebody who helped build the Biden for Florida team across the state in social media, what do you think? What are you hearing from folks about their reflections on how this team is coming together and how it reflects so much diversity in our state?
You know, Chris, people are happy and excited and looking forward to this election. We have seen across the country, across the state, how they're mobilizing in their own county. And that's an initiative that you started in Biden for Florida, 305 for Biden, 305 for Biden, Biden for Broward. All these initiatives that are organizing to have everything in an organized fashion, and people are liking that. People like to have a concrete plan to help Joe Biden get elected in Florida and flip Florida blue.
Yeah, and we're connecting folks all over the state, so as I say on our weekly broadcast, wherever you are in the state of Florida, there's a group for you, right? We've got 305 for Joe, Broward for Biden, Palm Beach for Biden, Southwest Florida for Joe, Monroe for Joe, Jax for Joe, 850 for Joe. There's a Joe for everybody, That's it. And so look for those regional groups and join the Biden for Florida movement. Get your friends involved, and together we're going to flip the state blue. We're going to make, and like you said, Marie, there is a very large and a very important community in the state of Florida that unfortunately too many elected officials kind of take for granted. Yes. And only come to them for election time and don't promote members of their community within their ranks. And we're seeing that that's the exact opposite approach that Joe Biden is taking. Right. When Joe Biden came here to Miami, he made sure that he had time to talk directly to you. Exactly. I loved at one of the events that the Biden campaign did. Right. They provided those pictures of you and Joe Biden together, because you've been there since day one, right? Since day one. And now that we're getting members of the Haitian community added to the Biden campaign officially as advisors and leaders of the campaign. Karen Andre, she's definitely proven that she knows what she's doing. She does. But just the fact that she's a member of the Haitian American community is a tremendous thing. But I'd love to know what you, Marie, as somebody that's talking to fellow Haitian Americans, people in your community, in your district that you're running in for State House, what is it that is top of mind for the Haitian Americans in this election as they consider who they're going to vote for president, whether they're going to vote at all, because that's also extremely important. It's not just about the people that are committed for Biden, but we got to make sure that the Haitian Americans, the Latino Americans, everyone that needs to be part of this coalition included, off their butts and gets their vote in on November 3rd. What is in mind for the Haitian American community, do you think?
Tell you the truth, Chris, I have been out there for a year and a half, and Robert Palacios can attest to that, because I'm telling you, I'm so glad the fact that he's in my team. He's a guru actually in this. For this, he started at a very young age, and he has proven himself to be a leader, to be very smart in what he does in social media. So we've been out there. We've been out there for the past year and a half. And tell you the truth, the Haitian community has seen the current occupant of the White House for who he is. At first, some people were leaning toward him, but now they see him, they say, okay, this man is not about anything. And I have spoken to so many Haitians who say it is time for us to get someone who is decent, someone who really cares about people, someone who would see all of us as one and not dividing us, someone who can unite us as a people, not even as a group, as a people, because we all are human beings and we all need to be treated with decency, and we all need to get the same benefits as any other ones. So tell you the truth, the feedback is very positive. People are excited. Joe Biden is someone who really cares about everybody. I would tell you that encounter that you're talking about, even though they were waiting for him to leave, he would not leave. He took his time and really talked to me about some of those issues that the Haitian community is facing in South Florida and throughout the United States as a whole. And he said he wants to remain connected with us. Who else do you think the person that we have now would connect with the Haitian community? No, we need to open our eyes and see people for who they are, because when they need the vote, they come to the Haitian community or they come to other communities. Once they get those votes, they leave and they treat you like dirt. This is not who Joe Biden is. Joe Biden came to our community, and even with COVID, he's committed to really address those issues and really talk to us, even though he cannot come and walk like candidate always walk, because we have to admit the country was not prepared. If you remember, President Obama had a pandemic office that was dismantled by this occupant of the White House. So Joe Biden has a lot of damages for him to counteract when he is in the White House. And we know he's ready. He's prepared. And the Haitian community is ready and ready to stand behind him in order for us to have someone decent, someone who would restore the dignity of our people. So this is the feedback that I'm getting. Believe me, I'm excited. And while I'm out there for me, it's bigger than me. I'm out there for Joe as well in order for us to get Joe to the White House. And Karen is amazing. She'll do a fantastic job because she has all the tools that's needed. She's a lawyer as well, and she knows the Haitian community. She started at a very young age with her mother on 79th Street where they were protesting and all this. She knows the Haitian community inside out. So she will do a fantastic job. So we're ready. The Haitian community is ready to take Joe to the White House, and so are the other communities as well, because it's not about just us. We work together with other communities in order to make this happen for Joe, the Hispanic community. And I know you have been gung-ho from day one. From day one, you started working on this. And you have shown your great leadership skills. This is why I cannot wait for your name to come as one of the leadership team also who would be responsible to bring this home. I cannot wait.
What I love is that, here we are 17 weeks out, right? It's been over a year since Joe Biden jumped into this race, but at that over a year mark, the three of us were together with a lot of other folks in helping to start getting the excitement and the Joe-mentum going here in Florida, right? Mm-hmm. And we had I guess almost 30 good candidates. We had an amazing crop of Democratic candidates, but I'm very proud to say that folks like Robert and you, Marie, and so many others have been backing Biden, Biden believers from the very beginning. And I really, really appreciate that, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And we will not get to the White House if it weren't for all of the folks that were supporting other candidates who have been so strongly uniting the party and saying very clearly, we are not going to let Donald Trump have even one more day in the White House. And we are proudly and enthusiastically supporting Joe Biden. And that's one of the things that we've been seeing with these caravans. And I think, one of the reasons is precisely because of what you're saying, right? And what you mentioned earlier. And, I don't like to curse, but you're absolutely right. We have to call out what was said. Mm-hmm. And that, a campaign that was begun attacking Mexicans, right? And we know that it wasn't Mexicans, it was an attack on Latinos, an attack on immigrants, right? In general, right? They're criminals and they're rapists and drug dealers and yada, yada, yada. Then evolved into what we're seeing today under his administration, right? It evolved from rhetoric into, let's actually put in place immigration policy that keeps people from, as he puts them, shithole countries out of our country, right? And chain migration and vilify those people who are coming here to just achieve the American dream and strive for a better future for their families, as so many generations previously have. And today, well, really last night, I guess about 24 hours ago now, we now get further evidence that the kinds of policies being pushed by this administration are specifically anti-immigrant, right? You have Mike Pence's press secretary, who, let's not forget, used to run Homeland Security and immigration policy in this country, right? Steve Miller, and let's not forget who she's married to, Stephen Miller, right? Very, very anti-immigrant folks. makes it super clear in her statement.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we need a little Havana? Or, and you can supplement that with, why do we need a little Haiti?
Haiti,
Why
right.
a little Italy? Why do we need a Chinatown? Why do we need these expressions of immigrants' cultures that help enrich the United States of America?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And, Daniela couldn't join us tonight. You saw a comment, but Daniela, my fiance, Daniela Ferreira, who's also been tremendously helpful to the Biden campaign this entire time, made it a point. Her family came here when she was 3 years old from Cuba, and they bought a home. Their very first home was purchased in Little Havana, right? And that's where their American dream began.
Right.
And to have folks from the Trump administration and Trump himself denigrate that and attack that and make it seem like it's worthless, right? That we don't contribute to this country, to our states, and to our local communities is disgusting. It's insulting. And like I said earlier, when is enough, right? When do these Latinos who have stepped back and allowed these kind of attacks on us to continue, right? Like our current congressman, who sadly is automatically reelected. We're going to make sure that it changes in 2 years, right? Mario Allard sat across from Donald Trump in the Oval Office, uttered those words. Why do we need people from shithole countries?
Right.
Mike Pence's press secretary, why do we need Little Havana? Right? This is literally the mindset that this administration is running this country under. The exact opposite of the kind of mindset that people like Joe Biden and Barack Obama and even, pray tell, George W. Bush, right? George W. Bush pushed for comprehensive immigration reform. Even Ronald Reagan right out of presidency with his farewell address saying, embrace immigrants because they make our country stronger. This isn't a Republican or Democrat thing, or at least it didn't used to be. It used to be everybody who recognized, who had a little bit of a sense of what American history was about and what this country was built on, said, yes, let's shine a beautiful, big, bright light on the Statue of Liberty and remind people, you are welcome here. Immigrants are welcome here. And that's what's so important at stake in this election. And in these days where we have Trump himself once again threatening to repeal and get rid of DACA, right? He's going to sign another order on this. Anybody who doesn't have their minds made up yet, wake up.
Wake up. Smell the coffee.
Yeah. To that point, Chris, what you said.
Yeah, go ahead, Robert.
To that point, you said those lawmakers in Miami-Dade County, those Republicans, old-time fashion here in Miami, who always bring up this idea of the Democratic Party is a part of the communists and the socialism. I hope they see this and say to and ask themselves, who is Donald Trump and who is his cabinet?
He's clear, right? We see who he is, and we see who the people are that he surrounded himself with, and it's scary.
And they can't speak up. They won't speak up. It's like it's a cult, and they agree with everything that he said. They're afraid to stand up to him. And a great leader, you throw something around, but you give people the ability to also speak their mind or to give you feedback, to give you advice. This is not what we're seeing in this administration. People need to open their eyes and see, because he showed us who he was at the beginning, prior to him being in office. And some people were blind, or they were trying to give him a chance. And it's not about party, like you mentioned, Chris. We had George Bush, who was very human, who really understood people and tried to work with both sides, which is what the United States is based on. It's not about party. We're not saying that the Republican Party is bad. We're talking about the person. The person who is occupying the White House, who has divided the country. Joe Biden's going to have a hard job, a big job in his hand to unite the country. But the good thing about it, he has the skills to do it. He's human. Right. He's charismatic. He treats people with dignity and respect. So he will be able to do it. There's no doubt, no about him. We know that he is equipped to do it, to mend the country, to bring the country back to where the country needs to be. But if we don't open our eyes and we don't get up, get out there and vote, and it's not just about you. You need to get 10, 15, 20 people to go and vote and make sure that we get someone in the White House that can restore the dignity of our people, the dignity of our country. And we should be on a mission. This should be our mission until November 3rd, to work very hard to do what we need to do. I'm calling on all people, wake up and see what's going on and get things back in order. Put someone there that no matter what, he will be able to stand up. He will. Our kids, look at the immigrants. Look how we got treated. Immigrants are the backbone of the American tapestry, okay? We have helped so much, and I'm talking about all of us. We have contributed to the makeup of America. And this is how people are being treated? Come on, let's wake up and smell. Come on. Let's see what's going on. We're not blind.
We cannot allow it.
No.
A line will be drawn on November 3rd, and we must. It's our responsibility. And I have great faith in our fellow Floridians that we will do this. We will. And it's so darned important. And in case you haven't heard, news broke today. Donald Trump will be here on Friday in Florida. He's making his way to Doral. Probably no mistake there, no coincidence, right? He knows he has slipping numbers, especially amongst the Latino community. The numbers are not looking good for him here in Florida, but especially amongst those Latinos, the numbers are slipping, especially as like in Doral, there's so many Venezuelan Americans. And in we've seen that in Venezuela under the Trump administration, Russia has grown in strength, and now you have China involved. And just a few weeks ago, Iran raised its flag in our hemisphere in Venezuela and started getting involved in Venezuela and Cuba. So this is what the Trump presidency has gotten us, and so he's concerned. He's coming down. He's probably gonna throw out some red meat immigration policy out to his base, and I'm putting out a direct call to all of you, right? If you are ready to help us make a statement that Trump is not welcome in Florida, that Trump is not welcome here in the state, not anywhere in the state, but especially in immigrant-rich Miami-Dade County and Doral. Exactly. Reach out to us, right? Reach out to us. Send us an email to Biden4FL@gmail.com and let us know you're with us. We're planning to do a major caravan manifestation on Friday, where we are going to start in Little Havana, where his administration says, why do we even need it? We're going to start in Little Havana and make our way to Doral, where Trump is going to be, and we're going to let our voices be heard. We need you, and this moment is going to be very, very definitive for this election. Because Trump is trying to continue to divide us and continue to put out xenophobic and divisive policies and language, and we are going to divide. We're going to put this dividing line between what has happened up until now and what will happen post November 3rd. That dividing line will define what this country is all about. We are going to divide history and say Trumpism is a thing of the past, and we are going to put it behind us on November 3rd. But we need your help to make that happen. So I'll put it up on the screen so you have that. Our email address is Biden4FL@gmail.com. So send us an email. Let us know that you're with us and that we can count on you to join us in this caravan and send a message to Trump and make sure we get out there and show enthusiasm, beeping for Biden, and support our fellow immigrant communities, the Haitian community, the Latino community, and so many others that have come here to work hard and build the best America yet together as they support Joe Biden. Marie, before we wrap up, I would love to have you share a little bit about your campaign. I know running a campaign in the middle of a pandemic is not easy.
It's not.
And during these Biden for FL live streams, we've been trying to highlight some of the local candidates that are running for, county races, state house races, state senate races, and let the audience know how they can get engaged with your campaign and support you if they are so interested. And how can they do that?
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm glad that we had this night about Joe Biden, and we intend to continue to put the pressure and to speak up in order for us to get Biden to where he needs to be. I'm a candidate, as you know, Marie Woodson, candidate for State House District 101. When I started the campaign a year and a half ago, of course, we did not have the pandemic. We were reaching out to people. People were very excited. People were donating money and so forth and so on. Once the pandemic hit, it has become more difficult for us to work, for the team to work. But I have to tell you, I have a good team behind me, very good team, such as Robert Palacios, who's been on the team from day one. And the team is really doing a great job. We're still reaching out to people. People are excited about the campaign. They want us to go to Tallahassee because they believe that I have the leadership skills, I have the people skills that's needed in order to go to Tallahassee to fight, pass good legislation, and bring the resources down to our community. I have 35 years of county government experience, and not only that, I know how things work, and I know how to make things run as well. Because when you start at the bottom and you work your way up and you have that sense of humanity, you are charismatic, you understand people, and you know the needs also by being there, talking to people, finding out what the issues are. So we are excited. Our campaign is doing very well. And not only we are there campaigning for ourselves, we're campaigning for something bigger than us with a greater purpose, which is Joe Biden to become the next president of the United States of America. So we are doing great. The pandemic did not stop us. We are working full force, and together we are going to make it happen on August 18th and November 3rd, which is the bigger day when we get Joe Biden to become the next president of the United States. We are excited. We can't wait for you to join the leadership team that he's putting in place for Florida, Chris. We're looking for that. We want you. We want to have you because you, Karen, and the others will do an amazing job. And Robert Palacios, take him with you to continue working on Joe because I'm telling you, he's a firecracker as well. So, hey, let's get this. People in Florida, you know what needs to be done. You need to get up and do what's right for your country, for your nation, for your children and your children's children. Because it's a lot at stake and we cannot be fooled this time. The people who got fooled last time, you can be a fool once, but you won't be a fool twice. So let's get it going for Joe Biden in Florida because he needs this state. He needs the state of Florida in order to win this election. And we cannot let him down because if we let Joe down, we let ourselves down and we let our children, our families, our seniors, our veterans, everyone, we letting them down if we really let this guy get another 4 years in the White House. The White House belongs to the people, and the people would put Joe Biden in the White House on November 3rd.
Yeah, Robert's not going anywhere. We're not going to let him go anywhere because we've got a lot of work to do between now and November 3rd.
Exactly.
So we're going to keep him plenty busy.
Yes.
I want to encourage everybody who's watching to check out Marie's website. What is your website, Marie?
www.mariewoodson2020.com. www.mariewoodson2020.com. That's my website. Go in there, support. But remember, support Joe.
Absolutely. And I love that Marie, a lot of times when she goes out, she wears a shirt that says
Well,
Woodson
we
for Joe, right?
exactly. We have
The
to
big,
put it out there. It's a greater purpose, and I'm
and
all for it.
yeah, and encourage other candidates to do the same, right? Like, keep in mind the local races again are extremely important, and Joe Biden is going to be extremely helpful to those down ballot races. But Trump wins re-election,
That's
it's all
it.
for naught, right?
We do.
We lose democracy, we lose everything that we fought for, and it's so darned important. Want to once again put up our email on the screen, bidenforfl@gmail.com. If you're interested in joining our next caravan, email us. Just send us a note, what your thoughts are on these live streams. We'd love to get some constructive criticism and feedback. And I just want to wrap up, Robert, with both of your thoughts. Again, as we go forward with this new leadership team that is official as of yesterday, we have locals from here in the state of Florida that are leading us to make sure we flip Florida blue with Biden. Karen Andre, Haitian American from South Florida. We've got Juan Peñalosa, a Colombian American who has been the executive director of the Florida Democratic Party. Jackie Lee continues on as state director from Orlando, helped get Amendment 4 passed, such an important amendment that now we're seeing even the Supreme Court has basically made sure that we should give the felons that have paid their debt to society their rights to vote back. And Jackie Lee was instrumental in that effort with Desmond Meade. And we've got Brandon Thompson on that organizing effort to bring the Biden and FDP efforts together and make sure that they mold well together. So we've got an amazing team, and the team is continuing to be built. And I know that some of them are going to be joining us on future live streams. So you can imagine in these first 48 hours, they've got their hands pretty full, but we will get them on here so they can talk directly to you all. And they're going to be involved in lots of other digital events that we encourage you guys to follow. But Robert, just your final thoughts as we wrap up tonight.
I want everybody to look at the team, diverse and inclusive. That's how we're going to flip Florida, guys. Have that team qualified and diverse. It's from every community across the state. We're going to flip Florida blue for sure, November 3rd.
Yeah, and like we started the program with, we had Gretchen from Sarasota, very red area. They got a huge response to their caravan for the America's Birthday Caravan this past Sunday, more than any other area of the state. And that is a very big indicator why Donald Trump is so worried, why in the middle of this pandemic, he's been to Florida more than any other state, right? The reason he's coming here again on Friday. But their fear needs to turn into your action, right? Out you all joining our effort, emailing us at bidenforfl@gmail.com, connecting with us here on social media, sticking with us on these Tuesday night 7 p.m. broadcasts as we count down to the day that we flip Florida blue with Biden on November 3rd. Without us all working together, making phone calls, participating in these caravans, helping to identify our friends and family members' digital addresses so we can reach out to them in an effective way as we get closer to the election, getting everyone to sign up for vote by mail. Without us doing all of that, we could lose. It is absolutely anybody who tonight is looking at the polls and sitting back, Biden's got this, I don't got to do anything. Do not wake up on November 4th and say, I should have done more. As Barack Obama himself challenged all of us, whatever you have done to help elect Joe Biden and Democrats up and down the ballot up until this point, the reality is it is not enough. We must do more. And I'm waiting for your email to let me know that you are ready to do more. Robert and I will be looking for those. Marie, I'll give you the last word as we wrap up.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Robert. Thank you so much for what you're doing and what you continue to do, what you've been doing and what you continue to do. My message is very clear, very, very clear. Go out and vote. Not even going out. You have early voting, request your ballot, get out and vote. But most importantly, get other people to go out to vote. And I'm asking everybody to vote for Joe Biden. I'm asking Democrats, I'm asking the NPS, if you have to change, to change your status in order for you to vote for Joe Biden, do it. We have Republicans. I'm out there on the campaign trail where Republicans are saying they are going to vote for Joe Biden. This says a lot about who Joe is. So I want everybody, get out there and vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the best. Let's take him to the White House and do your part. My thing is do your part. Just like Chris said, don't wake up on November 4th and say, oh, this happened. If it happens, we're responsible. We at fault because we have a lot more Democrats than we have Republicans. Let's go get them for Joe Biden. Thank you.
Together we will.
We will.
Marie, thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. Next Tuesday, 7 p.m., we always have special guests. Tonight we had a real firebrand in Marie Woodson. We had tremendous veterans at the top. A few weeks ago, we had Anna Navarro join us from The View. We have amazing guests here joining us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Make sure you're with us. Don't miss next Tuesday. Follow us here on Biden for FL, and make sure you click those bells or whatever the hell you need to click to remind you that you can join us every Tuesday here at 7 p.m. And we end tonight with an ad from the Florida Democratic Party encouraging folks to urge Jacksonville and the state to tell Donald Trump no to an RNC convention, a coronavirus convention here in our state. We do not want to risk any more people getting sick, especially with the skyrocketing numbers. Donald Trump, do the responsible thing. Be responsible like Joe Biden is, and put people's safety and health first. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next week.
Tell him to put a mask on. Tell him to put his mask on.
Heroes wear masks. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Good night.
Jacksonville, Florida agreed to do what Governor Cooper would not, and that is host a full convention with no health restrictions.
Anthony Fauci of his own coronavirus task force says that it's still not safe for large gatherings like this one.
71% said they were either very or somewhat concerned about the possible transmission of COVID-19 if a large number of people gathered at the convention. People could be heard chanting, "No RNC," as the mayor walked by.
The record number of people in Jacksonville testing positive. We're seeing massive lines of people being tested at all sites around the city.
Hundreds of more local doctors have signed onto an open letter to the city of Jacksonville. They want the Republican National Convention in August to be postponed.
Quote, allowing an estimated 40,000 people to descend on Jacksonville is unequivocally provocative of disease, predictably harmful, and medically disrespectful to the citizens of this city.